Right, so I'm back with another episode of Top 5 Mods, the weekly Top 5 series that is almost an actual Top 5 series. So since last week the Nuka World DLC was released, allowing you to explore and take over the Nuka World theme park, as well as allowing you to become best of buds with bloodthirsty psychopaths. Ain't that quite something? Now I did a playthrough of the main questline, so if you haven't seen that yet, you should totally go watch it. Anyways, without further ado, let's get to this week's list. See, I went on a wild adventure to Nuka World. For some reason I was put in charge pretty much straight away. Well, I had to kill this guy with a squirt gun beforehand, but that was pretty simple. Then I took over the entire park, along with my pet flamingo, and then I helped some animal-loving, colorfully clad people settle in at Abernethy Farm. And then to help out those nice people, I decided to set up a trading relation with Sanctuary. But now for some reason Preston refuses to speak to me. I don't know why. I don't really mind though, he finally shut up about defending all those settlements. But anyways, at number 5 this week, since we're here now anyways, we got FizzShop Grille, Fizztop Grille Settlement. Man, you'd almost think that is a tongue twister. But that's right, I hired some workers with my emergency funds and they fixed this place right up and made it habitable. Because before, it was definitely a shithole. So this mod removes all the shit that is on the floor and the counters, adds in some functioning lights, and replaces the disgusting mattresses on the bed with something that you would actually sleep on. It does still need some tropical rainforest wood flooring for the bedroom section. I mean, plywood is just not stylish enough. But overall, this place now looks pretty okay. It's in a pretty cool little spot inside Fizztop Mountain. It has a nice view and a nice and open layout. Plus you can sit down pretty comfortably. The only downside is that there's still weird mannequins and the elevator still looks like it could fall apart at any second. But I guess we're just gonna have to live with that. The mod also adds in a workshop so you can decorate this place even more. I kinda prefer letting people do that for me, preferably below minimum wage. But you can now add some spice to this place. Now since we're in Nuka World, why not decorate the wall with an assortment of delicious Nuka-Cola variants? Well, Nuka-Cola display rack allows you to do just that. So this mod adds in floor and wall mounted Nuka-Cola display racks. To place them down, simply go to furniture and shelves in the building menu, slam it down and you are ready to fill them with your favorite flavor of Nuka-Cola. Each type of shelf can display 8 bottles of cola, so you can now finally show off your Nuka-Cola Quantum collection, or your Nuka-Cola Grape and Cherry collection. I mean, nobody likes those flavors, but you can be a special little snowflake if you want. But yeah, overall a very fitting mod for this settlement. Man, I still get cold sweats when I hear that word. But yeah, this mountaintop bar house is pretty cool. It also has a nice collection of Nuka-Cola now, but there's just way too many raiders around. They're loud, smelly, dress in really weird ways, and they just never clean anything. So I took the next train to the Commonwealth. I need some peace and quiet. Luckily I found an ad for this small cabin just southwest of Sanctuary. Rent's pretty cheap as well. So I decided to check it out. Now right when you enter you've got a coat on your left as well as a little workbench. On your right you've got a small kitchen along with a candlelit lonely dining table. And then you enter straight into the bedroom, so it has a lovely fireplace, some nice decorations above that. Unfortunately it does have railroad fan art. But on the right there is a neat desk with a terminal and a delicious bottle of Nuka-Cola. Above that some shelves with some books and finally a bed with a giant revolver right below the pillow. Okay, this won't do. Not only is that extremely uncomfortable to sleep on, but that's also just poor firearm safety right there. I'm gonna have to pass on this shack. I mean, it was almost perfect up until that. Although it might also be literally uninhabitable because this place has asbestos. I mean, it says right there on the box. But out of curiosity, I decided to explore the outside as well. So on the left side of the cabin, you've got a motorcycle, clean, free nuclear power, as well as an entrance to a basement. Now this place isn't quite as neatly decorated as the cabin. It's also extremely dark and it hasn't been cleaned in a very long time. But yeah, overall this cabin is nice and compact, neatly decorated, but not too cluttered like some of the houses I've seen. I just can't live in this place because of that one fatal flaw. Sometimes I think I might just be a tad bit too nitpicky when it comes to these homes. Anyways, I also found out that if I jump high enough I can see through the ceiling. Unfortunately the attic is also not really that decorated either. But yeah, overall a pretty cool mod. Now that brush with death by improper firearm safety really made me think about suiting up. But plain old power armor is boring, so I found FO4 War Tags. This mod adds in 2 power armor paint jobs, each with 2 variants with a bunch of different beautiful decals. They are located under the materials mod section at the power armor station. So first up you got the red paint job F4 WTDD, which after handing that over to my personal cryptographers I think stands for Fallout 4 War Tags Devil Dogs, which is a nickname for the Marines. But it's got a nice red paint job, misbehave on the front as well as some teeth. Next up F4WTDD2, and his naming is getting just really confusing. But this is the same paint job, you just get some different decals. So you get the matte Mardoon on your chest plate, unless I can't read that cursive. But you also get some USMC fan art as well as a yellow visor. If you want to be a bit more camouflaged, however, there is also a green paint job. So first up we got F4WTLS. Now it's still a mystery to my cartographers what LS stands for, so we may never find out. But we do get a beautiful dark green camo pattern, Suzy Q on the front and a kill count, as well as some more teeth. And finally, we've got FO4 War Tags, which gives you Sally on the front of the chest plate, as well as what appears to be a steroid-using version of Mickey Mouse on the side of the chest plate, which is very interesting. So all these material mods are extremely high detail, they look nice and warm with the scratches, as well as personalized with the decals and the text that's scribbled on there. Now you're supposed to use the two different variants of the paint job on the different limbs, so you don't have duplicate textures. But apparently I can't read, so I didn't quite do that. Anyways, the same material mods are also available for the T60, T51 and the XO1 power armor. And they've got different decals compared to the T45 I showed off, so there is a lot of decals to check out in this mod. And you can definitely spice up your power armor game as well as make yourself look more menacing. But all these beautiful high detail decals kind of ruin the camouflage of my power armor. And we all know you have to be extremely stealthy when wearing power armor. So we're gonna need a different type of power armor, this just won't do. So instead we'll go with the T51C AirForce power armor. So to get your hands on this, you'll have to go to the National Guard training yard. Take a left around the main building, go past the vertebrates and enter the bunker. Just close the door on the tourists that try to kill you and you'll see your very own suit of AirForce power armor. Just step inside and be sure to pick up the helmet that's laying in the corner. So this is some pretty cool looking pristine dark green camouflaged advanced power armor. It's got crisp textures, it's got some curves and overall it looks pretty cool. But this thing has an eyepiece that kinda makes it look like I've got glasses. And I can't have anyone thinking that I'm a nerd. I mean, I've got a very important image to maintain here. So this armor still won't do. I need something that is a bit more menacing. And what is more menacing than having a skinned bear on your head? So instead we'll go with the TES-51 power armor Skyrim inspired, which adds in some beautiful power armor that is inspired by this other universe. To get your hands on it, you'll have to go to the Bethesda Comics east of Diamond City. Okay, this really is not helping me get rid of that nerd image so far. Anyways, you go inside and you walk past the tiny suited up figurines, go to the back and take the elevator down. You'll enter into a room with the power armor as well as some strange glowing text on the wall. But before you do anything, you need to make sure that you pick up the magazine right next to the bedroll and also pick up the old-fashioned sword and warhammer behind you. Now the power armor is in a power armor station right there, so this is the perfect opportunity to pimp it out before you start wearing it. So I added a dead bear to my headpiece as well as dead Brahmin to my shoulder pieces, to look just a tad bit more menacing. I also went with the Nordic War Paint. Now there's 4 additional paint jobs: Hot Riders Flames, Military, Skyforge Steel, and Winter Camouflage. And if you want, you can also strap a backpack to your back. But that is not it. This mod also adds in free magazines, which unlocks some of the customization options for the power armor. And it adds in the sword and the warhammer that you already picked up. And if that wasn't good enough, it also adds in a whopping 3 custom loading screens to the game. So I decided to test out the power armor's defensive capabilities against some gator claws. Now the first one flew off to oblivion. I guess he didn't really like Skyrim all that much. But the remaining 4 were easy enough to deal with. I guess you just can't beat Skyforge Steel weaponry. Anyways, all this heavy power armor makes me feel really strong. Now with that power armor, you're not going to spend your time meticulously picking locks to open doors. Instead, you're just gonna bash them right open. So unlocking violence allows you to do just that. So to test it out, I set up a very professional test site with some extremely secure doors. So with this mod enabled, you can punch open doors. If that's not good enough, you can also bash open doors. If you prefer a louder bang, you can also shoot open doors. If you still want a bit more oomph, you can also first flip off a door and then blow it open, or blow it open with even more force. And finally, you can also sprint straight into doors. Now it's divided into 3 categories: melee, explosive, and weapons, each with different requirements to open up more securely locked doors. So yeah, if you don't like lockpicking or you just really hate doors, this is definitely the mod for you. But we are suited up, nearly had the perfect house, and we can now break through any door we want. But I still feel a bit empty-handed, so I need a gun. And I found the Tech 9 - a standalone pistol. So to get your hands on this thing, you'll need to drink exactly 25 Nuka-Cola Quantums. Then while you're tripping balls, you need to locate Preston. Now he's still not on speaking terms with me. Not that I could really make out what he was saying in slow motion. But anyways, you have to squirt Preston in the face with your squirt gun. Now I may or may not have filled mine with pee, but that doesn't really matter. The only thing that does matter is that you have to get him absolutely soaked. Now he doesn't quite appreciate that, so you gotta make sure that you fly away before he can retaliate. Then trip your balls to Nuka World and go to Safari Adventure, and take a relaxing dive off of the treehouse into the water below. Then, and only then, will the Tech 9 be in the bathtub at Abernathy Farm. I've also upgraded the place a bit. I had to pawn off the TV, but I installed a bunch of pick-me-up stations in parallel. I'm still not quite sure what they do, but they do seem to work. So this thing is pretty customizable. You can have it firing 38, 10mm, 45 ACP, or even 50 cal. It also looks pretty good. Just the way you hold it kinda makes it look like you're thinking really hard about shooting off your own fingers. And the reloading animation doesn't entirely fit, but if you can get past that, you can also go for the extra large size, which definitely looks just a tad bit more intimidating, with a giant suppressor and a really big magazine. I'm still not entirely convinced though, it's still just poor firearm safety. So instead we'll go with a beefier gun, the IMI Desert Eagle. To get your hands on this thing, you have to go to the National Guard training yard once more. Again, go past the vertibird and make your way to the building at the very back. Shoot the ghouls inside and pick up the Desert Eagle. Then casually make your way outside, only to realize that the sentry bot has awoken. So dodge the rockets and retaliate. So this thing is pretty cool. It shoots the 44 cartridge, looks pretty good and has a very cool custom reloading animation. The only thing that's really lacking is the sound. It uses the vanilla 44 Magnum sound, which doesn't entirely fit the gun, and the reloading sound doesn't quite match the animation. Now this thing is not extremely customizable. If you don't like the nickel finish, you can go for a matte finish and you can attach a reflex sight, but that is about it. So overall, a pretty cool weapon. I definitely like that custom reloading animation. Just the sound department's budget should be increased ever so slightly, and it'd be nearly perfect. This gun still is just a tiny bit too small for my liking though. I need something that really packs a punch. So today we'll go with the fusion gun. To acquire this one, you have to go on yet another adventure. Go to University Point, which is just southwest of the castle, and enter the slanted building at the very back. Once inside, go up to the second floor, break open a door and take the first room on your left. In there you'll find a rogue synth who has the fusion gun on him, so just casually beat his head in and take what is rightfully yours. Now you will pick up the pistol variant, but this thing is pretty customizable. You can change the receiver to increase the fire rate just ever so slightly. You can change the barrel to fire a spray instead of a concentrated beam. You can also add a bunch of different scopes and change the muzzle to add a fiery effect, if that is your thing. And finally, it has a very cool raise sound if you've got one of the more advanced models. So this thing looks very good and it sounds great. It definitely helped me take out a wild pack of gorillas that converged on my location. Well, that was it for this week's list, but as always, we've also got some bonus mods in here. So first up, we got Tunnel Snake's outfits. So yeah, imported straight from DC, we've got Tunnel Snake's attire. Why? Well, because they rule, of course. So to craft your very own Tunnel Snake outfit, you just have to go to a chemistry station and look under the utility tab. So you can wear the Tunnel Snake outfit with a leather jacket or a custom Tunnel Snake's t-shirt. But I still feel like something is missing here to really just complete that Tunnel Snake look. Right, a haircut. So I went to the barber shop and I got myself a greaser haircut, which wasn't entirely what I was expecting. But that seemed to be the only greaser option out there, so I just rolled with it. But because I felt like I was missing some hair on the sides there, I decided to grow out some facial hair. So I got myself a perfectly matching mustache. So this new outfit and hairstyle is just perfect to impress this new companion named Laura in Diamond City. So simply walk up to her and talk to her.
What's up?
Not much. Just waiting for some excitement.
Well, that was surprisingly simple. Man, I am just so smooth. Smooth like butter. She's also very easy to please.
I can't remember the last time I had this much fun.
Just a bit too easy. She also sounds robotic.
How about we just grab a beer?
Ah, damn it, I freaking knew it. She's a synth. And you know what they say, you can never trust a synth. There's only one thing left to do.
What's with you?
I also accidentally lit some garbage on fire, but then I just had to make sure that she didn't come back. The guy didn't really seem to be too bothered and just casually went back to eating his steak. So yeah, maybe one day I'll find the perfect companion, as well as the perfect house weapon and armor. I feel like I've been searching for about 44 weeks exactly. But yeah, maybe one day. Anyways, that was it for this week's mod, so yet again some very solid mods in there. Will Preston ever speak to me again? And do I want him to? Whatever happened to my synth producer? Find out potentially next week, so until then. Anyways, I don't really have a lot of amazingly interesting things to talk about here. You know, I did the Nuka World playthrough, which was quite time consuming, but I do like the outcome. I like to think that my videos are just a tad bit more well edited than most of the playthroughs out there. I sort of just apply the editing strategy where I cut out the boring parts and skip to what I consider to be interesting, which is the dialogue, some shooting, and my snarky comments. You know, back in the day when I watched Fallout videos myself, I always found myself skipping through the dull stuff, so I aim to just cut that straight out there, trim off the fat. So that's that. I also found myself teaching a bunch of international students last week how to place down footlocks and ropes. That was exciting. For those who don't know, which is probably everyone, I sort of do like obstacle running at this point. I mean, it's more like an actual sport in the Netherlands, still not really that amazingly popular. But we call it survival. It's like a combination of obstacles as well as running. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think I've barely mentioned that, so I do have a video coming up where I do mention that, but that video has been in the works for forever now. I've just been kind of too lazy and unmotivated to finish it. But it's a story about me trying to claim a YouTube channel name, like an actual URL, man. I had to go through so much effort to claim that URL. Literally dozens of hours went into claiming that name, so maybe one day you'll see that video. But yeah, that is pretty much what has been going on with Bards, so I do have some additional ideas for some gameplay videos as well as some quest mods on the list. I'm just gonna see about the timing here because uni is starting back up again, so that is gonna take a decent amount of my time here, you know. Gotta do that minor in robotics, man. I'm gonna be a roboticus. Or whatever the fuck you call those people. That's gonna be so exciting. Anyway, speaking of time, let's stop this right here, because I haven't been rambling on for too long here, but you know, this is the update section, so that was the update right there. Until next time.